Sup KBA Squad, Phoenix here, this is Last Shelter, and just shortly after I published October P1's Token Shop refresh update, we now have P2 12 hours, it is past reset, and it's looking like a great one, just a hero I kind of forgot that wasn't in the mix, but equally as strong and a great update for this season. It is Scarlet Siren Season X, and Season 4, Deus Ex Machina, Season 2 Viscount, and Season 1 Dragon's Rage. So of course we're going to talk about them, give you some strategies about your hero token management if you decide to pick up Siren after the situations where I think it's worth picking her up. Then I will also talk about how you might want to approach unlocking her skills unless you are looking to max, and give you some ideas in the hero reconstruction. Siren was also in October's Hopeness Lab edition for heroes, so if you do get the chance to max, make sure you check out my October Hopeness Lab video update. I do go in depth a lot about the kind of special skills and normal skills that I prefer, but I'll give some summary in this video as well. Now before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our Last Shelter partner Leo's VIP Club, giving you access to some of the APC and base skins directly without having to worry about all those randomized packs, and especially how expensive it gets inside the game. It is the Storm Bomber currently rotating in the skin mix. Troop might plus 3%, marching speed plus 3%, a nice balance of still amping up your strength attributes without sacrificing the marching speed bonuses of other APC skins. So this is kind of a little bit of an all-rounder attacking offensive while still proving to be useful if you find yourself in a competitive tile war, gates war, world center, or just overall conflict in your Eden map. So if you want to pick up the Storm Bomber alongside any of the base skins and APCs that you're after, make sure you check out Leo's VIP Club, and I'll put the link down below. Righty-ho, so here I currently have 4,440 hero tokens, and in October P1's update I was kind of hoping Death Rider would appear, and at least not one of those less worthy heroes like Lone Wolf, sort of delaying the inevitable of how much I really need to develop my heroes. Death Rider, Wrath, Kamikaze I believe are still yet to appear in the Token Shop refresh, so that will probably be veering more towards the end of this year 2021. But Scarlet Siren, an excellent update, especially if you need damage dealers or severely lacking some of those to build those meta APC combos, or just to really prop up your APCs if you already have max and very solid support heroes. So let's firstly address the side heroes before we dive into the main course. Deus Ex out of the three may be the more worth out of the three, but again his appeal here is very limited considering how expensive SX heroes are. Pre-SX hero relevance, Deus Ex Machina doesn't really form some of the core pre-SX heroes that are still relevant even 3 seasons into Eden. They are Captain Ivanov, Panther, Major Anastasia, and Tech Priestess. The others are still decent. I would say Countdown just as a damage dealer in the meantime until you can really develop those SX hero versions. But you can see Deus Ex Machina doesn't really appeal in that. The only situations which might be viable if you wanted to pick him up is, of course, if you have plenty of hero tokens, you already have Deus Ex Machina to max, and you currently lack any sort of frontline shooter heroes like Koshe, Shadow, Retrograde, and you have some decent shooter lineups in the mix. So really only to max, and if you have plenty of hero tokens. He is okay, but he's kind of like a defensive version of Valkyrie as a first 3 turns. We also have Cyclone, sort of a 3-turn hero in SX this season, more of an offensive stat that you can use in mixed combos. But overall, he's kind of a damage debuff. He doesn't have anything fancy, very functional as a defensive frontline shooter. Some healing along the way, but after turn 3, then he is pretty redundant, so he's really just a tanky front hero based on your Baneblade and tech to try and prop up everyone else behind him. Like with Wings of Liberty in October P1, but a little bit more worthwhile. He does not appear in any of the main metas or relevance going forward, so again it tells you how valuable he is these days. He's probably more worthwhile as a combat hero, but Dragon's Rage does have a little bit of an exception, which we'll talk about in a moment, but Deus Ex Machina generally going to be a pass. Let's also talk about Viscount. So Viscount is just a major pass. There's so many strong fighter heroes out there. Viscount is already irrelevant as soon as Tech Priestess comes out. So from season 3 onwards, Viscount is just pretty not good. Similar tune with Juggernaut. So if you have Tech Priestess, which you should have maxed by now, if you haven't, make sure you pick her up in the Doomsday shop. Just don't pick him up. Hard pass. Reason why: he lacks any kind of healing. His counter attack damage is very subpar. The crazy healing setups of Tech Priestess, Canoness, Dawn, Retrograder, the offensive buffs, the suppression stuff like Viscount just doesn't hold a candle to them at all. So huge pass. And then finally we have a Dragon's Rage. Now Dragon's Rage, there is some value into him. Like I mentioned in October P1, the only S1 heroes that have some slightly worth and situational worth that may be better compared to other heroes is during Eden season, and that is because of their skill 7, the active skill. They are the only 3, Dragon's Rage, War Boss, and the Professional, to have this, even among SX heroes. So that's the kind of relevance that does make them useful. If you do have at least 1 copy of Dragon's Rage, then you might want to consider this if you're more of an Eden map player. Reason being, when it's active, it's 100% marching speed if you're on a super competitive or very intense season so far, and you need to get to those tiles, those gates, quicker before the enemy, whether that's a north and south faction or just in the Dissidia format, then Dragon's Rage can be useful. Kind of an alternative. It gives you a bit more flexibility no matter where you are in the map. If you're very far, that 100% marching speed is going to be a huge boost even over using vehicles. That being said, anything else really not worth even as a damage dealer compared to others. You can just make do using your other heroes in the meantime. That's the only time I would say Dragon's Hero may be useful, and that you have plenty of hero tokens. 60 coins, of course, is a lot for a season 1 hero. 2400, just 600 shy of an SX. So of course SX should always be priority out of the 4. I would still largely say pass. I don't have Dragon's Rage anyway, so it's not something that's appealing for me. Now that they're out of the way, let's talk about Scarlet Siren. So Siren, again, she forms the top metas in this season and even last. Again, a reminder, Scarlet Siren with Dawn and Scorpion is killer. If you have any of those heroes, Siren is going to be a great addition if you don't have a Death Rider, or you are using a Death Rider in your vehicle formation and don't want to switch. You can see I have 1 copy of her, and since then I've not had any other copies. So Token Shop, always a great way to guarantee yourself where heroes that are eluding you, but heroes that you really need to pick up, and Scarlet Siren is one of them. If you already have a max, of course you can gloss over this. You can hoard those hero tokens to save it for the other top heroes that you want to look out for, which is Death Rider, Wrath, Kamikaze, or just basically hold them until you need to spend them on the other formations. Reason why I like Siren: she's an excellent damage dealer, and even with this season's hero Flare, you'll find that as an excellent and the top meta combo running right now. So that's Flare, Siren, Dawn, or Flare, probably Flare, Dawn, Siren, just Dawn being able to absorb half of the damage and increase healing potential. You can put Siren in the front of that, but Flare is your primary front liner, so you do lose out a lot of that effectiveness. But if you don't have Flare, then Siren, Dawn, Scorpion is great, or just substituting any of Dawn for Canoness, Retrograder, or Scorpion for Wrath as alternatives. But that's a nice, well balanced and a high offensive combo. So her Wave the Flame is an excellent one. It automatically triggers from 1, 4, and 7. 2 random enemies for 2 turns, so very consistent, burning damage throughout the entire turn 8 battle. Deals solid damage and also increases skill damage by 50%, so a lot of variations to really amp up offensive damage against those burning targets. You can also line up with other burning heroes, so of course Flare being one of them. Executioner as an off-meta version, not going to be as strong, but if you just want to play for that burning. And Inquisitor to activate his suppression for 2 turns, which isn't so bad, but again an off meta and not a strong alternative. But she's really solid. I like her because she's very consistent with her damage, 100% guaranteed on this as long as it's not countered her Scarlet Assault. Also 500% damage to the lowest troops, so she really has a lot of widespread damage, even depth in the amount of damage that she does deal. And then Chain Explosion, it is a 1-turn prep, 40% chance, but attacks 5 times, and depending on the troops that she hits, she's going to apply a counter most of the time. So that's Disarm for shooters, Silence for fighters and vehicles, and stacks up to 2 turns. So if she continuously afflicts them, then it's not going to disappear after the 1 turn, it will carry on into the next. Excellent damage dealer, again, if you are lacking one. So I've got myself Huntress and just being able to get a usable Nomad now. The only one missing is Siren, so for me, I'm definitely going to pick her up. In terms of hero reconstructions, you can go for Flame Burn, which is going to increase her burning damage. That's very nice. Hourglass, which is going to provide a 50% chance on a gold quality to skip that 1-turn prep and allow you to activate that more frequently in a battle. There is a limitation, I believe 2 times in a battle that skill can activate, but super awesome for that. Yes, you have Tactical Conversion, which amps up her tactical skill damage. Insight, if you're playing her in the front row and want to have some chance to be immune to counters. Very limited, only a few times, but can help edge it if you're in a tight battle. And finally, some other ones like Strike Combo, Auto Strike. Those are going to give you additional normal attacks or just auto damage outside of those attacking cycles. In terms of her normal skills, you can just amp up her HP, resistance, tactical, might, or might if you're putting her in the front row. Tankiness with her fighters, HP, resistance, and tactical might are my preferences. Any of those, you are golden. If you get group versions, it's not bad either, or you can just go for straight up damage. So yeah, that is October P2 update. In terms of token management, I have 4,440. I was currently holding out for Death Rider. If I think of Wrath and Kamikaze, Wrath only 1 copy, Kamikaze 2 copies. The third is not going to get me that much, and since I'm lacking a damage dealer, I will go for Scarlet Siren. You can earn 800 hero tokens per refresh cycle, so if I decide to pick her up here, I'll have 5.2, and then if Death Rider even appears in November P1, that after 800 hero tokens, I will have enough to pick him up again and have a 6,000 in total. So now that I've figured that out, for me, it will work well. I only have 1 copy. Should you pick her up? Yes, kind of regardless now. Like, she's going to be very common in these meta APCs, and if you don't have that meta APC, it's going to be very tough to really break through the strong variety of metas available. So having Siren, investing in it now, even if you have 1 copy, will be great. I'm probably also going to dip into the hero drop this season, which I believe is week 5, to get more copies of her, hopefully, and then that will finally make her useful. So let's pick her up. Boom. It's not Death Rider, but I will take this. It's kind of a nice surprise because I can amp that up. And let's go to the fragments. Combine. There we go. They really need to change this splash page whenever you redeem a fragment. They need to make it much more badass, like how much adrenaline comes through when you have a hero drop. But I will take her. And now let's talk a little bit of her skills and which one to unlock. So if you are someone who only has 1 copy of her, you're gonna have to make a tough choice. Generally, damage dealers, you want to unlock their skill 8 because that really opens up the potential of the damage that they can deal. That being said, limited if you want to have a maximum destructive power. I would say you can use that for other heroes, so that's not too much of a big deal. But if you want to sort of get through more garrisons, being able to awaken is going to make her last longer, especially if you have very strong support heroes on the side. That being said, Way of the Flame is kind of one of her key skills that makes her great. So you want to open up as many chances for her to deal her damage. Like I said, I do have Nomad, I do have Huntress. Scarlet Siren is kind of the only fighter damage dealer that I have, and I'm banking that I can pick her up in the hero drop and put on my wish list. So for me, I'm going to focus more on the combat side and unlock her skill 8 Way of the Flame, because again, her burning damage is just what makes her really shine. I've kind of done it before where you awaken sort of key heroes that really damage up, and it just severely limits, and even though they last longer, they will just take much more damage. Again, if you've got Dawn, you got Canoness, you got Retrograder, then their high healing rates are going to compensate until you can awaken. So I would say skill 8. Let's do that. Yes, finally. Damage dealers. Finally got some good development this season, with Nomad just missing one now, and then finally having more than one copy of Scarlet Siren, so I can somewhat use her in the meantime. And let's go on and max her out. That was super satisfying, KBA Squad. Whew. I don't feel so weak anymore. So, yeah, that's Scarlet Siren October P2. So November P1, what are your predictions? I believe it's going to be a spanner in the works because we were treated to Scarlet Siren. So probably Lone Wolf or just any of the undesirable SX heroes, which if it does happen, while I would like to get Death Rider, of course I can rebuild my hero token since I'm always teetering on the edge and have just enough for one. Everything's kind of played out well so far whenever I've dipped for the tokens, even being limited, because again, those heroes are just worth it and better for the long term. Really happy with that. Finally got Scarlet Siren. Need to awaken her so I can really make full use of her and do some damage, since I have a maxed Retrograder who I'm waiting to appear in the Hopeless Lab to reconstruct. I do have 2 copies of Dawn now, so that's useful, but I'm sort of lacking Scorpion. So while I can't run that meta, I can run a 4 fighters, especially since I have a Prophet. And yeah, I guess we will see. So sound off in the comments down below to KBA Squad who you think is going to appear next. I think what's likely to appear is like Lone Wolf quality, which is just a hard pass in terms of what I would like. Of course, Death Rider being the top. I do think Wrath may appear, but yeah, that's it. So really great update today. Want to thank today's sponsor, Leo's VIP Club, and our KBA patrons that are supporting my gaming channel here at Phoenix Plays and my main One Tech Traveler to keep producing and share more dope videos for you guys. If you haven't yet, make sure you check out my website at onetechtraveler.com for more game reviews, guides, as well as stories around my tech travel gear reviews. And stay tuned for my official Discord, which I'm currently working on for our KBA community to chat and share those KBA vibes. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, keep being awesome. Peace. Yeah, boy.